Do the trashy pulp novels of the world have anything to offer? Are bestsellers all they're cracked up to be? Here at Terrible Book Club, we explore whether you really can judge a book by its cover, or its ridiculous synopsis. You ever passed a book and thought, ugh, who's reading this? We probably are.
Hello and welcome to episode 127 of the Terrible Book Club. I'm Paris and this is Chris.
Hello!
This time, on this cozy Terrible Book Eve, we read Star Wars Life Day Treasury, Holiday Stories from a Galaxy Far, Far Away by George Mann and Cavan Scott, illustrated by Grant Griffin. Chris found this while just diving into random Amazon holiday books like a month or so ago, and since it embodied the ever-present question on the show of, was this really necessary? We bought it and read it. Chris?
Yeah, I literally just stumbled upon this one. I was just going through holiday stuff on Amazon and I saw it and I was like, does anyone really need a Star Wars holiday story compilation? And now originally, before having read this, I thought this was some older book because Life Day was definitely a thing previously, that the Star Wars, before Disney owned it.
Well, it was from their previous holiday mistake.
Yes.
The Star Wars Christmas movie about, like, Wookiee Life Day, which was just Wookiee Christmas.
And I thought, oh, it must be from back then, because why would they resurrect that?
Yeah, that's also what I thought.
And then upon finishing the book, I looked at about the author, and he was like, oh, I did some work for Image Comics for the Dark Souls. I was like, Dark Souls?
Wait a minute.
Hold on a second.
What decade was this from?
Yeah, what decade was it? So then I looked at the front, and it was published like the month that I looked at it. That month that I found on Amazon, it was in like September 2021, something like that, which is a clue for how far ahead we're recording this.
Yeah.
It's close to your probably holiday.
It's close to Life Day for you, or whatever.
For us, it's a couple months before.
I don't know. It could be a couple months before their Life Day. I don't know.
True, and that's one of the things we'll get into here is the lack of creativity about
and
holidays.
lack of diversity in this book about an entire fucking galaxy, but all they can come up with is analogs for fucking Christmas. Anyway, if this is your first time stumbling into this show, what we do here at the Terrible Book Club is we read books that we assume are going to be bad, and we base this on their cover, title, summary, or some combination of the three. And sometimes we also read things that people recommend to us, like friends or listeners or patrons. So generally we do the opposite of what most people do. So we pick books that we think are going to be bad, we read them to test that theory, and then we present the episode as our evidence as to whether or not they were bad. Once in a while, we do actually end up liking the book, so it's just kind of a fun experiment every time. Content warnings, today you just kind of got our usual barnyard language. There's some cartoon levels of violence, and then there is a mention of a massacre. And, various other evils associated with, like, fascist empires, because that's a thing in Star Wars, but there's really not much today, so. Alright, Chris, do you want to read the back of the book summary? Like,
sure.
what this book purports to be?
From George Mann and Grant Griffin, the same team that brought us the stunning Star Wars, Myths and Fables, and Star Wars, Dark Legends, with the addition of best-selling author Cavan Scott. This collection of 8 myths and fables told around winter fires and high-tech heating pods across the galaxy will bring holiday joy to young and old Star Wars fans alike. From Jedi in the city to Ewoks in the forest, from Wookiees to droids, in this charming collection you will find holiday feasts, ghostly apparitions, snowy adventures, and much more. Ultimately, these are stories of hope in the darkest of days, of family found and otherwise, of kindness, and of love. Oh, well, that's sweet, Paris. It's a cozy holiday, but what's to hate about that? We're having a cozy holiday time right now. You're back in the Boston area.
Yeah.
We're hanging out in person doing this. This is some classic TBC stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a candle lit. We have some tea going here.
I got a full blanket on.
You're cozy in a blanket on the couch. We got the mic set up. Hey, it's just a nice holiday time, man. We're just having...
Well, I was trying to have a good holiday time, and then I fucking read this book, and it was ruined, so...
Get in the holiday spirit and read some Star Wars things about lightsaber Christmas. Darth Vader roasting on an open Mustafar.
Oh, space frost nipping at my hand.
Hollow snow nipping at your hand, actually.
Yeah, so, alright, this is a collection of short stories. I think there are like 8 of them, excuse me. So for characters and settings, I mean, hey, you know Star Wars stuff, right? You got all the Star Wars stuff. You got some androids, you got some Jedi.
Give them some Star Wars names. You guys know what Star Wars, like Balmagu or Dim Fuppet, or right?
Well, yeah, I think this is like one of the problems in the books that we'll get into, but they mention all these various species, both humanoid and otherwise, but very rarely do they actually describe what any of these are, and they're not like common ones that you'd know from the movies, which makes it even weirder. So, yeah, they really failed in the world building department on this one.
I kind of just want to keep saying random off the top of my head Star Wars names for as long as I can here, Paris, just to see how long I can go.
This one didn't have many names in it. It had some.
Mel Garvo.
Who is that?
I'm making him up. I'm just saying, like, off the top of my head.
And I believed you.
Exactly.
That was the worst part. Yeah.
Del Frostbit.
Gulgag.
Oh, yeah, he's a Hutt.
Yeah.
What about, Margo?
I mean, these all sound very plausible.
J34P.
How about 42069?
Darth Bengus.
Darth is like a title, so
yes.
Yeah, that's, I mean...
Yeah, Darth Bengus. He was the most famous of the Sith Lords.
Oh, I was gonna say Darth Bengus is clearly... It's clearly a fucking evil,
He's a comedy Sith Lord. He's the jester Sith Lord.
No, I was gonna say he's clearly, whatever Jar Jar Binks is. That's who Darth Bingus is.
That's his
when Jar Jar...
You know that Jar Jar is a Sith theory, right? Like the whole conspiracy theory about Jar... Yeah, no, Jar Jar Binks is a secret Sith. He's like manipulating everything from behind. Like he's the reason the whole Trade Federation dispute happened.
So there's like a QAnon for Star Wars is what you're telling me.
Yeah, Jar Jar Binks is secretly like the Dark Lord behind even Palpatine or whatever. He's like...
What is the evidence for this? Not that I'm I'm not invested.
You know what?
In
Do your research, Paris. Just Google it, and I'm sure all the completely bulletproof sources will pop up.
Let me just get my data pad. Excuse me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this Star Wars stuff, and the setting is Star Wars, and there's space. That's it.
All right. So we've got 8 stories. You know what? I guess I'll read these summaries because you wrote them.
Yes.
Okay. So I actually have to physically open this book in front of me because I don't remember the names of any of these fucking stories.
The names aren't that important, Paris. You can just summarize.
Okay. Story 1. A Coruscant solstice. I think it's Coruscant. Is it
Coruscant?
It's Coruscant?
Coruscant.
A croissant solstice.
Yes.
All right, we're on Croissant, and all right, on Croissant, there's a Jedi Knight. Is he called a knight?
Yes, they're called Jedi Knights.
There's a Jedi Knight, and he decides to reinforce the police state by chasing after a petty, thieving street urchin child who is stealing to feed himself and his sick mother. The Jedi decides to hang out with them for the holiday and maybe train the street urchin to be the Jedi temple janitor or something. I don't know. It's kind of
very unspecific. He's like, we'll take you to the temple and you'll earn your keep and be able to buy food for your sick mom, which this feels really real gross.
Fucking felt like hashtag back the blue. Like, I was just like, oh no, Star Wars, get out of there. You don't want to do that. Second story is An Old Hope, which, wow, the name of that one. This one, I might say this one was the least egregious of them. It was like the best story, I think. In An Old Hope, a droid gets kidnapped by Jawas, and all the other droids that are kidnapped on this sandcrawler.
Yes, correct.
Discuss the legend of the Oil Bringer, a Santa-like figure that fixes droids in their sleep during generic life daytime or whatever. He shows up at the end to fix the protagonist droid after the protagonist droid decides to give hope to the other droids by fixing them in the night, because he was like, well, we're all trapped on the sandcrawler and I feel bad, so I'm gonna use all my energy to fix you all up. But then, you know, they're all like, oh my god, Santa's real, but then Santa really is real, and he fixes the good guy droid. So that was fine. I mean, it's bad in a lot of ways, but out of this pile of 8 shits, that was the least shitty.
Yeah, that one was kind of the most creative one, so...
Yeah. Alright, third story, The Kindling. This one starts off strong, and then almost immediately gets weird. So in The Kindling, this is kind of your Hanukkah or Diwali, some kind of festival of light simulation here. Alright, you got 2 rebels on the run. They just escaped from an Imperialist work camp, and the stormtroopers are chasing after them. One, a Twi'lek?
Yes.
Twi'lek or Twi'lek?
I think Twi'lek.
Sounds like a Twilight fan if I say Twi'lek. That's kind of weird.
That's what they call themselves.
Twi'lek tells the story. Okay, so these two, what were their names?
Belbondo.
No, I have Fanya?
Grill. Jorpin.
Oh, damn it! The book is right in front of me. Hang on, I can figure this out. Fanya, the Twi'lek, and Rorik, the Petrolian, whatever that means. So Fanya and Fanya and Rorik, good fucking god, they're running away. Rorik has been shot during their escape and is bleeding out, but they're still running. And while they're trying to escape to a waiting, I almost said helicopter, we're in space though, it's a waiting transport ship.
Yeah.
To facilitate their escape. You know, fucking Fanya's like, oh hey, look at this moss, and Rorik's like, I'm fucking bleeding out. And she's like, no, let me tell you the story of the moss. And he's like, I'm literally dying, but okay. And then she proceeds to spend like 20 pages fucking telling the story about this moss. And she does use the moss to help them escape, but it just, I mean, it makes, why would you waste that time?
The holiday story had nothing to do with why. You could have told them that, oh, the moss has a high amount of magnesium in it, so it's like easy to light on fire for a long time to distract the soldiers as a flashbang, essentially.
Yeah, it's a flashbang. Anyway, she wastes all this time, you know, wasting the life of her friend here, explaining why this moss is cool, and basically the whole story is like, hey, we were taken over by the Sith, and then our one hope was this lady who collected moss, and then we roasted the Sith Lord in his wooden tower, and then he escaped anyway, though.
Because the Sith Lord have wooden towers and they're afraid of fire.
Yeah, we'll talk
like
about why that makes...
goblin overlord or something.
That makes no sense. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. Then the third story is, the Crew Lock.
That was the 4th story, actually.
I'm sorry.
You did the 3rd story. This is the 4th story.
I've drifted into space. I've drifted out of space and time. 4th story is the Crew Lock. This is the Ewok story. In the Crew Lock, there's a group of young Ewoks, and you know they're all trying to be cool because they're kids, and they're like trying to be cooler than each other. And their parents tell them about the Ewok legend of a monster, the Crew Lock, that stalks any Ewok who goes out into a snowstorm in the forest. Because I guess it snows pretty rarely on the Ewok world, on the moon of Endor, right? It's the moon of Endor? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So they're like, yeah, it's dangerous, don't go out in the snow. So to keep the kids from going out, they tell them the story. Of course, this group of young Ewoks, including Wicket, because how could we write a story without literally a character from the fucking movie appearing? You know, they sneak out, and they're like, oh, we don't care about we're gonna catch the Crew Lock, and they set a trap, and you know, the Crew Lock appears, it's really just one of their friends, and they're like, whatever, it's not real, but then the Crew Lock appears again, and they're scared shitless, they piss and shit themselves and run home.
They run right crying and pissing and shitting their farting their pants.
Yes, and then it of course turns out it's just like they're the village elder, and one of their parents like just scaring them with a costume, and I was like, this is just the village, but somehow worse.
Yeah.
Like, if you can imagine that. What that has to do with the winter holidays other than snow, you tell me. I don't know.
Holidays.
Like why weren't we in like fucking Ewok Yule or Ewok Samhain? Like they seem pretty druidic.
True,
you know?
yeah.
Like why are we not getting like fucking Wicker Ewok or whatever? That's that one. Alright, story number 5. The Song of Winter's Heart. This is summarized as there are very good people on both sides. The story in the Star Wars universe. Max and Rel lived on Alderaan, before it was fucking blown up, and they celebrated Winter's Heart, the Alderaanian Christmas, basically. Then 18, I don't know, they were like little kids. It flashes through 3 different points of time. So they're little kids, they're having a snowball fight, and they're like, we're best friends, yay! And then, they're... Guys, I killed an Ewok just now. I'm really sorry. It just died on the floor in front of me. So they're children, and then it flashes to when they're both 18, and they meet on like a subway, the space subway, and I need a nice chicken bacon ranch melts. I didn't want to get the vegetable supreme. Just ran into each other there. They're both trying to get some lunch. Yeah, space subway. The space transit system. Oh, I'm sorry, a Jawa bacon chicken milk. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Think Jawa meat's any good? No. I mean, I don't know, maybe if it was jerky. Like, leave it out in the sun, the sand, right? Yeah, they're naturally jerked. Oh. That did not have a right to be as funny as I found that in that moment. Anyway, Max and Rel meet on this, the space tram or whatever, and turns out, Max joined the Imperial Army, and Rel is like, but the Imperial Army is evil. Remember when we were kids and they were evil? And he was like, yeah, but I want to make a difference, and Max is like, okay, whatever. But then they meet again, I don't know how many years later. Turns out Rel is now a rebel. Max is still an Imperial trooper. This is after Alderaan got fucking blown up, by the way. They, of course, run into each other in battle. Rel is doing, like, a sneaking mission, like, across the snow. Well, no, it was during a battle. Oh, I see. They were in battle together, and... Oh, God, it's so lame. But, Max is singing a Winter's Heart song that they used to sing together as kids, and then Rel pops up from his hiding place and finishes the line, and they're like, oh no, it's you, man, I almost killed you, I can't believe it. They hug and play a game in the snow, and then they're like, well, guess that's it. See you later. See you later. I'm gonna go shoot your comrades later. I guess not you. Technically my job, but eh. Yeah, very, very weird. Next story. The Spirit of Life Day. This is the Christmas ghost story, basically. So, there's some planet with like this super haunted town, and it's only haunted on Life Day though. And every Life Day, the entire town is plagued by the ghostly reenactment of a clone massacre that happened there. Like, during the Clone Wars, the droids came in and fucking murdered everyone in the town. And every Life Day, the ghosts of that situation reenact the whole thing, and it terrifies the whole town. They board themselves up inside their homes. Instead of, I don't know, going on vacation for the weekend, they just sit there and terrified and pissing themselves about this ghost shit. Those tickets out of that town are really pricey, let me tell you. Well, not to mention, like, nothing's actually ever happened. They're just scared. Like, no one's ever died because of the haunting. Yeah, no, they're just scared of it. So, this one Life Day haunting massacre or whatever, this girl's pet gets away. She runs out after her pet. They get, I don't know, she ends up in a house with a ghost, and the ghost is like, we're not here to scare you, we're here to make you feel better. And she was like, how is showing us a massacre of our townsfolk being murdered helping? And they're like, that's just because you have a bad attitude. Think more fondly about Life Day, and then it'll look nicer. Yeah. And so the moral of the story is, like, just blame the victim. About, like, I need to talk about ghost mechanics when it comes to this story. Yeah, we have questions about how androids are ghosts. Not even that, but just like how that works. The whole, well, if you were happier about ghosts, then we wouldn't be so weird. Yeah, it doesn't. most of these stories don't make any fucking sense.
Okay.
So that's
you got two more.
all right. Reflection Day. There's like this pilgrimage happening, kind of like, you know, pilgrimage to Mecca, or what's the other? Give me some other religious pilgrimage places.
You go to the Vatican? Like, you're a Christian? I don't know.
Yeah, like... Vatican, Mecca. I don't know. I guess Mecca's probably more. Isn't Mecca about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, there's pilgrimage, and this one guy's basically being forced to go on a pilgrimage by his dad.
He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and this is like, oh right, this is a Jedi pilgrimage. This is for people who, well, no, it's like, it's not Jedi. It's people who believe in the Force, but they're lay people, so they don't have the powers.
They're
of
religious
Jedi.
About the Force.
Yeah, right. So they're religious about the Force, but they're lay people, and that they don't have the powers.
They're
of the
Jedi stands.
Yes, they are. They are Jedi stands. So what was his name? Zula, Zorba.
Yeah, Zula Dingo.
I literally just finished this, and I fucking cannot remember this guy's name.
Zud Glanchi.
It may as well be something like Zud. It started with a Z. Zalo, that's the name. Alright, that's the brilliant creative name that I forgot. Alright, so in Reflection Day, Zalo is forced to go on this pilgrimage by his dad. His dad's like, you've never had a purpose in life, go on this pilgrimage and figure it out. And he's like, I don't really want to. His dad's like, go. I don't really know what makes him do. I don't know. I guess he just wants to repair his relationship with dad. Unclear.
His dad will cut him off. You know, it totally sounds like trust fund kid syndrome here.
Maybe. And he meets a woman named Kazmira on the transport, and then she ends up saving him from being stomped on by a camel. Excuse me, a space camel called a spamel.
Actually just called a spamel, too.
Because this is so creative.
I didn't catch that until you pointed it out.
Yeah, she saves him from being stomped on by ostensibly a camel. And he, as a whole part of this fucking pilgrimage, he has to go look in the Kyber mirrors, which apparently you're supposed to look in these mirrors, like all the pilgrims go, and you're supposed to like see the purpose of your life. And he gets there, he looks in the mirror, and he's like, oh no, I don't see anything. And then he like starts to turn, and he sees Kazmira, and he goes, oh, I guess I found the purpose of my life.
This lady that I just met. Oh, that's like the worst thing for us here, apparently. Like, just the whole point of the story is like, and then I met this girl, and that was enough. That's the whole point of my entire life.
Yep, my life was directionless until I met this woman that saved me from a space camel. Alright, last one might be like the most phoned in of all of these stories. It's called The Tree of Life, and guess what? It's just Life Day in the Chewbacca household, and Chewbacca's son breaks the family orb. Christmas tree topper, Life Day orb. Yeah. And he replaces it with a bulb from the Millennium Falcon that Han Solo helps him get. And then Han Solo goes, yeah, you did it, kid. And then Chewbacca goes, ah! And it's Life Day! Yay! That's it.
It's really just a chance for Han Solo to come in and like wink and finger gun.
And also for them to be like, Chewbacca's family, even though there's no need for that at all. Alright, so those are all the stories. That's a very brief synopsis of these 8 already brief stories. So let's talk about what was good about this. Alright, what was good about these stories, about this book?
Good pictures.
Yeah, actually, the illustrator, Grant Griffin, bang up job on the illustrations. They are lovely. They're probably the best thing about this book. And the layout. Layout's good. Very well designed. It's very appealing, eye-catching, like, good. I think, like, even though the stories were cliche and very bad in a lot of ways, they're at least decent and well-structured, like, you know, no typos, things flow well, people talk like people for the most part. And, yeah, I mean, you pointed this out in the notes, but the kindling started off with, like, this really good action part that got my attention until the main character was like, let me tell you the story instead of dealing with your life-threatening wound.
But, yeah, you know, but my life is ending right now.
It kind of lost me there, but...
I have, like, 5 minutes left, and you're taking up 4 of them with
this Moss story. But, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, decent read. There were even some vocabulary words that were okay in here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was fine.
I do think this book is for middle school age children, perhaps.
Yeah, it feels like something you read to your kids.
Yeah.
Like elementary school children. That's what this feels like.
Yeah.
You want another holiday book to read to your kids and you want to get them excited, so you're like, hey, it's holiday stories about Star Wars. And they're like, yay.
Does Gel Dongo show up? Yeah.
No, Don Galdo is don't worry. So that might be the only stuff I have to say that's good about this. Like, it was edited, the stories are, I mean, intelligible.
If you want really softball, vaguely Star Wars themed holiday, no, very Star Wars themed, but I guess vaguely holiday themed is the better way to say it.
No one wants this. No one.
That's why, I saw this. I was like, who needs this? Who wants this?
You know who needs and wants this? Disney, because they get to make money off of it.
Right, like that's their thing. Is they're able to merchandise as extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
As much as possible, and they know what to set. I mean, if it works, we bought it, right? So,
well, but we bought it for a very specific purpose that is not for actual intended enjoyment.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just kind of really too bad because given the fact that there's all this other kind of extraneous Star Wars world building out there, because there's like all these novels about the extended Star Wars universe, I was expecting this to be way more creative and original, and it is just not.
Yeah,
they don't even really go beyond Christmas. Like, it's like
the kindling story is vaguely Hanukkah.
Or Hanukkah or Diwali, some kind of light festival thing where the people are oppressed and there's lights that keep their spirits up in the darkness.
Yeah, it's just sort of
a theme of both Hanukkah and Diwali, so I can't really tell,
But very akin to human being holidays, celebrations, winter celebrations that have happened.
Yeah, there's so much about winter, and it's like...
What about planets that don't have snow? Yeah. Planets that have different cycles of seasons.
There's only 2 stories in here that don't deal with snow. It's the pilgrimage story, because of course we're going to go on a pilgrimage to the desert area, because we're just going to make everything like current reality, even though this is space in a huge-ass galaxy. Like, what the fuck? And then the other one was the droid story, because that takes place in a desert on Tatooine with Jawas. So, but all the other ones are like, snow! And everything is basically an analog for Christmas. And you're like, alright, here's an example of how fucking unoriginal this is. It's like, oh, roasted chestnuts? No. On fucking Coruscant,
yes,
we have roasted mickle nuts. You want eggnog? Now we got spiced egg milk. You know what? Is it Christmas time in New York City? No, it's solstice tide in Coruscant. Like, I mean, it's just so one-to-one. Yeah. It's sad, and like even the life day. So Coruscant has solstice tide, which is just Christmas. The Wookiees have life day, which is just Christmas. And then the ghost story is also life day. What were the other ones called? Reflection Day is like, it's like, it's more like,
that's a pilgrimage. That's a religious.
No. What's the Jewish holiday where, Rosh Hashanah? Where you like think about your, like, what you can do better in the new year?
I think so.
Oh, fuck. We should ask the Jewish person in this house presently. I've already fucked this up, but, I think that, yeah, it reminded me of that because it was like Reflection Day, you gotta...
But the point being is that there's all these different sorts of biologically different creatures that might think or feel differently, and that this has no effect on holiday celebrations. It's all... I get, holidays are when communities come together. That's sort of the vague point of all this, and sure. But why would it all be sort of around... I think it's supposed to be all around the same time galactically, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And on top of that, there's, like you said, the roasted mickle nuts and the egg milk.
They just put very stupid names on top of things that already exist.
There's no unique holiday celebration about like the one species that communicates telepathically, so they have like some kind of weird like hive mind melding that year.
Yeah, that would be way more interesting.
Or but it only happens every 50 rotations around the sun. That's still like a holiday celebration.
Well, it wouldn't even be the sun because it's a galaxy, right? So they're not even all around in our solar system around the sun.
Sure, but like whatever the rotation is on the particular mind meldy planet, it would be like actually 50 Earth years. That's what I mean. It's like everything is relative to an Earth-centric perspective when Earth doesn't even exist. I get that, that's not what just come up with something a little bit more creative. Like, what do the Hutts do?
And they mention the Hutts very, like, is it in the description at the beginning? They're like, the Hutts even have a day where, for one day, they set aside their differences and they don't shed blood, and it's like, okay, where was the story about that?
But what is their holiday tradition where they do that? Are they like rubbing their tails together, or they put like a ribbon up around their nose or they put a false nose on because Hutts don't actually have a nose; they just have like nostrils or something. Something that's not based on something that we do because they're an alien species that would have a completely different understanding of how.
Yeah, there's no real thinking here. It's just. Hey, what? It's like they were in the writing room and they were like, all right, what do you got for tradition? Someone was like, chestnuts. They're like, all right, chestnuts. Oh, eggnog. All right, yeah. And it's like all generally white Western Christian-ish people. And then there's, the one person who's Jewish who's like, hey, what about the Festival of Lights? They're like, all right, fine. We'll put the lights in there.
What's going on with the species of creatures that just sit in Jawa's jar next to his thing? Go, yeah, like that guy? Like, what does he do for like...
Salacious Crumb?
Yeah, Salacious Crumb.
Wait, Salacious Crumb isn't in a jar. He's just.
I thought he was in a jar, but yeah, he's there and he's like cackling and shit.
I want to know what Salacious Crumb's fucking holiday traditions are.
And it can't just be like, oh, well, we roast tinier nuts because we're tinier.
And they're called crumb nuts because we have no fucking creative bones in our bodies. Like,
okay, it's like Salacious Crumb every year, his culture, they have to go outside and run in a zigzag pattern around the trees of the forest
to remember how they escaped their oppressors, decades ago or eons ago or whatever. Or
no, because like their god is like a tree weaver, like he likes to run between the trees, and I don't know. This is off the top of my head, like it's just different, right? Like it's something different.
Where's like we also get there's no special foods, and the things they mention like. Mickle nuts and spiced
We're really on the mickle nuts here because
because they're so obviously just based on things that we have in the human earth world, and it's just lame. And there are a bunch of things that they mention, but they're just words. They don't describe any of that. They're like, yes, the blubby bluerbs and the roasted kiki cookies. And you're like, okay, if you're not going to describe to me what those foods are, like if you're not even going to try to say, oh, I love when we have kickle cookie pie. It's so creamy and fruity with a crisp bottom. Like, I love it. I mean, at least then I can be like, oh, this is some kind of weird spaceberry pie. All right.
Yeah.
Like a key lime pie from space. Like, at least then I have some way to associate.
There's a description associated with besides just the word there, and them going like, well, you fucking figure it out.
And they do this.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, it's like fucking word soup for everything. So it's like this with the food. It's like this with, like I said, the humanoid species and non-humanoid species, where they're talking about all these animals, and you're like, dude, you're not giving me a cent about what these things look like, so it literally doesn't matter. You didn't have to include it because guess what? There's no flavor if you're just saying, yes, the Hosmabubs are sure outside tonight. And you're like, I don't know if that's an insect, a mammal, something unimaginable to me. Like, you can't just say words. You have to actually attempt to describe it if you're going to world build. And it was just disappointing because Star Wars, again, I at least had the impression that there was sort of this much bigger world built for Star Wars with all these side novels, and then we get this.
I will say that Disney did sort of wipe the slate clean, apparently, of most of the expanded universe. From my understanding, I think they kept in some stuff.
Oh.
But they were like, when they bought it out, they were like, nah, none of that's real. That doesn't happen. It's just what we decide now.
Well, I guess that explains it then.
So this might be like an attempt to rebuild by having no actual effort put into any of... They'll just look at this book and be like, I don't know, put Mickle Nuts in the scene in the season 2 of The Mandalorian. What's Mickle Nuts? I don't know, but take chestnuts and paint them blue. Whatever shit. Print money here, Star Wars, come on.
People... Come on, we got families to feed. We got Life Day to celebrate, come on. Yeah, so that's a general complaint. I think all the other complaints we have are more specific to each story.
I think Hollow Snow is very indicative of the low level of creativity happening here. Why is Coruscant, a city that is planet-sized, spending energy creating fake illusory snow that you can't touch or feel?
Well, I think the hollow snow in croissant makes sense because
I like a nice croissant with some hollow snow on it. It's delicious.
Sounds delicious. I think it makes sense because, all right, you got a planet-sized city. Imagine the cost of prep and snow cleanup every year.
But why do you have to have any snow of any kind at all ever?
Because it's White Western Christmas, Chris, and that's all we can conceive of. So
that's what I mean. It's like it's a completely useless thing to put. Like no planet-sized city were like, yes, we need to spend the energy to create the illusion of snow because why?
Well, I think that so they established that they basically have a very advanced HARP type system where they can control the weather. So I just think it makes sense to give people the nice feelings that they might have about snow, but not have to spend all the money prepping and cleaning for it.
Makes sense if you came to Coruscant from Earth and you remember the snow. If you've lived on Coruscant your whole life and before they turned the hollow snow on, you'd be like, the fuck is this? Like, I
don't know. I mean, maybe... Yeah, I was wondering that too. I was like, wait, so did they have snow at one point? Like, what type of planet is this?
If you need to turn the hollow snow on, I don't think so.
No, because they have like a HARP, like weather control system.
I understand. I'm saying, like, I assume that Coruscant never had snow.
Why would you assume that?
I don't know, because like it's been a city planet for millennia, so there's a chance that there was a planet city before. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. I guess you're right. They could have had snow before then. Then they're remembering the snow because they got rid of the snow.
Yeah, because they were like, this fucking sucks to clean up and stuff. I mean, which, I don't subscribe to. I am a snow lover. I would pay my taxes.
But then you can't, like, crunch into it.
Yeah,
your foot's going through it, and, like, you have to, like, kind of mentally calculate where your foot is in relation to the hologram because...
The whole city, the ERs are just full because everyone's breaking their ankles and the stuff.
Yeah, because like the hollow snow looked fine, but there was a rock under there, and I twisted it funny.
Or like, yeah, kids want to throw snowballs, and they have to like get like their little Snoopy snow cone makers to like fucking make.
Or is it never actually creates a false image on the ground, so it's just particles in the air that are false, which would still kind of mess with me.
Yeah, I don't know. Hollow snow.
How is it emitting everywhere? Is there like a projector on every fucking corner vertice of the city entirely to project the light?
I was wondering that too. How did they make universal hollow snow? That's really, really strange. Do they also do hollow rain?
I don't know. They must need moisture at some point.
Yeah. But if they're always controlling the
weather... It would have made more sense if they were just like, we put the snow on for this part of the year. Like, just regular snow. Instead of making the energy of a false illusion of snow.
But I still think it comes down to the cost of running a planet-sized city, Chris. This is the practical person in me, which is my entire being. So I'm gonna really argue hard for that.
Okay, all right. That's enough hollow snow.
Hollow snow, more practical for planet-sized cities. Moving on.
Get your hollow snow for your planet-sized city. We got a discount for bulk orders of hollow snow.
All right. So we're talking about the Coruscant solstice tide. Yes, a Coruscant solstice. That's where we're talking about hollow snow. Yeah, this story just kind of really feels like Law and Order. Like, why are the Jedi's cops in this? I don't like.
I'm pretty sure. That. I don't know how. Again, I don't dive too deep into Star Wars lore, but I'm pretty sure the Jedi aren't low-level law enforcement of petty thieves.
Yeah, I really feel like
they're handling like galactic level negotiations and shit, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I just really feel like this Jedi had more to do than be like, oh no, this kid stole some people's Christmas presents. Like, let me go hunt him fucking down in the sewers and like, or not the sewers, but the lower city.
Yeah.
You know, where the horror people live and find him. Like, what was he gonna do when he found him? Because by the time he finds him, he starts feeling bad because he realizes that the kid is only stealing because he has no other fucking choice. Which,
hey, it turns out that's usually the case for a lot of people. So if you hadn't considered that until now.
Yeah, it just... I just don't know how you could already be that high level of a Jedi and not have that basic understanding of humanity.
Just like aliens, society, right? Because it's not just humans, like...
We actually don't know if this Jedi is human. All we know is that he has a beard. They don't tell us anything else.
There's a Jedi on the cover in like a Coruscant-y kind of looking thing, and he's a human being. So.
Oh yeah, I think that is actually with that story. Yeah, I think you're right.
But it doesn't really explicitly say.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, why is the Jedi bothering to? He also says, "I'm going to get all the stuff back and return it to every person that he stole it from. How are you going to find them?" When they were just passing through a crowd.
I don't know, he's a Jedi magic.
He can also sense that the kid wants to steal, and that's how he zeroes in on him in the first place.
Yeah, and I didn't know that,
he's just sensing the hunger pangs, and just...
I understand that Jedi do have this ability to tap into how people feel around them and, like, make judgments based on that. So that made sense to me. But, yeah, the whole idea that he was gonna track everyone down, I was like, I guess he's going to track them down by sort of identifying their sadness over losing a particular object?
What if it was just like 40 credits? Like, right? Like,
oh,
how's he going to track down
600 people lost 40 credits today in the city. God damn it.
Shit, I'm going to have to narrow it down more than that somehow.
Oh, this paragraph kind of perfectly sums up the ickiness I felt when I was reading this. From his high vantage point, Stellan spotted the Gotal. He refers to the boy specifically with his, like, species, which is also weird. Stellan spotted the Gotal slipping down an alleyway between a luxury airspeeder showroom and Coruscant's oldest tailor. He wouldn't get far. Stellan would make sure everything he had stolen returned to its rightful owner before handing the boy over to the security force. As Chancellor So often said, we are all the Republic. To steal from a fellow citizen, especially at this time of year, was like as he's hunting him, and I was just like, look, man, I'm not saying you should steal from people, but I'm saying that if you're a Jedi and you see a kid stealing from people on a planet where there's great wealth disparity, why would you be like, I need to remedy this situation immediately? Like, don't you have, I don't know, some treaty to go fucking negotiate? I don't know. It felt very petty and weird for a Jedi to care about
but
this.
at the end, he's like, I'll take you to the temple and we'll help you earn more. He
has a change of heart, which is nice. You know, he's like, oh, I guess people stealing aren't bad. They just need help. And yeah, that's good. I'm glad he had that change of heart, but...
The job offer seems odd to me. It's got this very, like, we'll bootstrap you out of here kind of thing. It's like, why don't you create some kind of Jedi temple program that can serve more people than just this one poor kid? It's not bad that he, whatever, give the kid an opportunity, that's fine, but
maybe think a
little bigger if you have that influence.
Right, like you're this fancy ass Jedi who has all this power and prestige and privilege, like do something with it. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, all right. Next one, moving on to an old hope. So, Droid Santa, kind of fun, right?
This one was fine.
Yeah. My only question is, like, when the main, what was its name? Risa? What was the main?
I thought he was a number.
Yeah, but it looked like, when my eyes were parsing it as Laurie. It looks like Laurie. It's LAR1. I was just calling it Laurie the whole time. So Laurie,
I'm Laurie the droid. I live in Tatooine, and I just got kidnapped by Jawas. Join me for our fun adventures. That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah, it really does. So Larry here is, he's with all these droids, and they're all kidnapped. That sucks. Like, they're like, fuck, I don't know. And Jawas have a tendency to not treat droids very well. They sell them to whoever, and oftentimes they'll actually wipe their memories. So the droids are like, I don't want to lose my memory. Like, who the fuck wants that? You don't want to get your memory wiped. I mean, I guess some people do, but most droids don't. And, so they're all kind of scared, and there's this one droid who's just the real pessimist in the room who's like, I've been here forever, no one's gonna find you, you're never gonna go home, we're gonna die here, and they're just like, oh, shut up, whatever his name is, I forget. And so anyway, this, Larry is like, I don't know, guys, like, what about, all the hopeful droids are talking about Droid Santa, which they call the oil bringer, basically. Well, the oil bringer, and, he tries to get everyone's spirits up, and, of course, the crotchety robot is like, that doesn't make any logical sense, and they're all like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right, that doesn't really, because it's like, oh, he comes across the whole galaxy in one night to oil all droids everywhere. Like,
it's so weird to me that droids, ostensibly built almost more logically and more logic-based than other creatures, would have this blind spot about how that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does seem like the droids in this story have more of a human personality, but I guess C-3PO did too.
Sure, but I guess we have to accept that in the Star Wars universe that droids are sentient. They have all of the weird errors of computation and thinking that sentient seems to bring us.
Well, I guess I don't know, are they really sentient?
That's what I mean. Like, again, the droids are very human-centered. They don't have a different way of thinking about the oil bringer or something like that. Why didn't they justify it with some kind of weird mathematical equation that someone made up once? Was like, well, technically, if he bent space-time in this way, he could probably make... just like a weird droidy, overly mathy, computational way of thinking about this kind of thing would have added some droid flavor to this.
And why do droids need hope? I mean, are they like...
Paris, the droid hope crusher.
Well, they're robots.
They don't need it.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Like, I can understand something having personhood if it's not a human, right? Because personhood and humanity aren't always the same thing. I can get on a tangent about this another time. But I don't think that the Star Wars universe has really proved to us that droids are sentient. Because C-3PO always kind of seemed like it, but I think... Wasn't he asked about that in the movie? And he was like, no, I just made to appear that way so that it's, like, easier for humans to deal with me.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some nerd out there that has an in-depth video essay about Turing testing C-3PO, but...
It doesn't make a whole lot of...
I say as if I'm not a nerd that deserves to be stuffed into every other locker out there.
Well, look, we all got different lockers to be stuffed into, okay? Like, different floors of the building, different lockers... Whatever. I'm gonna file you in
34C for liking Dungeons and Dragons a little bit too much. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I guess if we accept that these droids are sentient and have personalities that they develop on their own, and that they have feelings, they seem to have feelings, which is a thing I find kind of weird, but I don't know, I guess that's what we're working with here. Sure. Fine, they need hope. Yeah. Because they're people now. So Larry decides to be the nice guy, and after everyone gets kind of downtrodden by logic, while everyone else is asleep, everyone else is powered down, he stays online and fixes everyone. So all of the droids were complaining about various problems they had. Like, they all had these, they have this kind of, like, boot on them for droids. Like, like, imagine you're a car, you get a boot on it, you can't drive. It's like, the droids, they can't access certain functions to help them escape. So he's got this, like, droid boot or whatever, and then some of the other ones are, like, missing arms and things like that. So Larry's like, I'm gonna give them some hope. While they're all asleep, I'm gonna fix them up, and when they wake up, I'm gonna say, oh, it must have been the oil bringer, and they'll be happier. Of course, like, right after he does this, the sandcrawler gets hit by a giant sand elk, which was kind of cool, I guess. And so everyone wakes up and they're, like, happy to be fixed, but they also have to run away from the sand elk and escape. But, like, alright, I have questions. So, while Larry's fixing everyone and they're asleep, how do they just, like, sleep through what is ostensibly surgery? Like, having their arms attached and, like, things taken off their bodies and fixed and put back? but then the sandcrawler falls over and they all wake up from that, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it would have been one thing if you had tried to sell it as when they go offline, they're fucking offline. Like, it doesn't matter what happens, but if a sandcrawler tipping over wakes them up, then ostensibly someone, like, going into your droid guts and rearranging them a little bit, you'd be like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, unless they're, like, space heaters. Like, they only turn on again when they fall over. You know how, like, space heaters will turn off if they actually fall out over onto their side?
I think that's a very nice space heater. I think most space heaters I've seen will just continue to heat.
No, that safety mechanism has been in place for years after people, like, houses caught on fire and shit from faulty space heaters.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. So I do wonder that, like, do they kind of have this failsafe where if they make it a full 180 or 90 degrees, if they make it a full 90 degrees in any direction, they turn on for their own safety?
I guess we'll have to just live with that.
But, like, wouldn't you also be like, hey, if someone's in your guts, you should turn on for
your
own safety? Like, that didn't make sense. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, you know, then the oil bringer does show up and he helps Larry out, right? Like, that's the end.
they all get free, and that was the one story that was kind of okay. That was the one story where they put a lot of detail into describing the Sand Elf, which was cool and really helped that story, I think.
Now we get to Space Hanukkah.
Or Space Diwali-nika. Diwali-nika. Hanawali?
Hanatwilekakadili.
We already talked about this earlier, but yeah, just the idea that this person needs to tell this long folktale and explain why this moss is combustible while their friend is dying from a bullet wound or a laser wound is just silly. I don't
tell him later after, just like, hey, get all this moss, I'll rub it together, we'll create a distraction. And then they get away, and when they're flying away on the spaceship, she can go, actually, it's because I knew this because of the legends of my home world. And I guess this is actually the most laid out, like, this is the most laid out and creative holiday thing happening here, because it's based entirely around, well, you know, this specific event happened, but it's just Hanukkah. Yeah, it's just what the Hanukkah story is.
Well, kind of. It's just about how light banishes darkness, but there are some elements to it that don't make sense. Like, even though this is the most fleshed out holiday tradition story we get, there's still many moments of, what?
Like, why is the Sith afraid of the moss fire?
Why is the Sith afraid of fire? I did not know. Well, here's the thing. The first set of fires that he was afraid of were just regular-ass fires. But then he comes and he just extinguishes. Okay, this is very similar to the Sword of Truth, where this guy is campaigning on the platform of no fire ever. This Sith Lord comes in and is like, no fire. Fire is done. So he uses his Sith powers to extinguish all fire, and then says, you know what, you don't even get the sun either, and blots out the fucking sun on this planet. So no heat, no light, no sun. First of all, how is anyone productive on this world? If you're enslaving people, they kind of need light to do things. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Everyone bumping into each other all the time on this planet. Even you, when you're coming over here to do your oppressing stuff, you're going to stub the toe like a lot if the sun is out all the time.
It would be one thing if they said, and then he gave everyone night vision goggles. I would have been like, fine, but they don't explain that. It's just, you're in perpetual darkness with species that don't have night vision. I don't think.
It really also feels like it would throw off the ecosystem and, like, the crop growing, like, just a little bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. Quite a bit. So, yeah, so just this wholly impractical, you know, move against fire or light of any kind. Like, this Sith dude even went so far as to be like, oh, your candles are cursed. When you light them, it's black light. And they were like, God fucking damn it. We can't even have candles inside. It's like, no, I told you, no light.
But then the special moss is different enough for him to not be able to extinguish it. And
so I guess because there's magnesium in this moss, when you strike rocks and set it aflame, the magnesium in the fire makes it long burning and stronger. And I guess even when you're a very powerful Sith Lord that can blot out the sun, you can't fight this moss fire. I don't know.
That seems like a shitty. That's Darth Bangus right there. He's kind of shitty.
I
I almost launched it into a Gungan Darth Bangus impression, but that's just too close.
Yeah, I really... The other thing that gets me about this is, like, telling me a Sith Lord is really afraid of bonfires just kind of undercuts how scary this guy is supposed to be. It's like, I mean, everybody...
Just like, wave a torch at him and chase him off.
Yeah, it just seems kind of silly.
If I waved a torch in front of Palpatine, do you think he would have cared?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
stop.
I don't think so. And then the further weird point is this Sith Lord who's afraid of fire lives in a wooden tower. They specifically point out that when he's on the planet that he's enslaving,
the most vulnerable to fire structure possible.
Wooden tower. Like, what?
You came in a spaceship. I assume you can bring some other materials to...
Or, I don't know, stay in the spaceship, maybe, you know, it's fine.
Observe from above.
Yeah, like... It's so fucking stupid. Anyway, I think that's fine. So that was kind of it. It's like, this one woman salad lady, what was Solana?
I think it was Fanya?
No, Fanya's the main character. Solana was the one
who
was
Solange from...
Fuck. Solana was the one who was like the older lady who found the moss and who
she became the moss dealer.
Yeah,
she was the weed lady. She was the hookup.
I thought this was... I literally went... Alright, I'm not gonna lie to you. When Fanya started scraping the moss off the tree and was like, nah, I gotta tell you something. And he was like, I'm dying. She's like, no, it's gonna matter. I was like, oh, she's gonna give him like this healing... Like, they're gonna smoke the fucking moss weed and it's gonna heal him. And then it just wasn't that. And I was like, wait. I don't understand why this is happening.
But Fanya, my blood.
It's leaking out of me. Sorry. Anyway, the older woman who found the moss and like figured out that it was like cool guy moss, I guess, she tore all of her clothing and cloaks and sheets and made little pouches of the moss for everyone in their whole society so that they could go and make huge bonfires and drive the Sith Lord away.
In the dark, too, I might add. You ever try to sew in the dark, Paris?
Yeah.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
Yeah. I would just really like to know how this society functioned in complete darkness at all times. It does not make any fucking sense. Oh, alright. That one, yeah, it's got some whole cheesecloth over there. Oh, and then, this next one, so the Krulok is the next story, you know, where the Ewok kids are the elders try to scare them out of venturing out into the snowstorm because they don't want them to get hurt, and they go out anyway. And, you know, their friends try to scare them, and then the elders scare them. And, yeah, so the moral of this story, if you're telling it to your children, is, hey, you know that dangerous thing we're telling you not to do? Just do it anyway, because it's fake. Like, why is this? What else? Why is this story in here? The only connection to they're like, oh, we're gonna have a feast, and it's only snows once in a while on Endor, so like, yay, it's snowing, it's kind of cool. But the story is just...
Yeah, why does holiday have to be special snow time, right? The holiday could be during any your gathering community holiday, which is, I suppose, the most of the point of this book. But, like, it doesn't have to be during snow time.
But, Chris, we gotta sell it during the Christmas season on Earth.
Yeah.
To humans.
Shit.
So...
Maybe it's like the really rainy season on Endor, or the moon of Endor, so that you still get, like, people have to be inside a lot. That effect, right? That's kind of one part of the winter holiday thing.
Yeah, and maybe we could get Ewoks worshipping fucking nature gods and shit, because that kind of seems like their deal. Like, why don't we get some kind of sacrifice thing or something? I mean... Like, the Wicker Man.
Even that's still based kind of on human stuff. I think, like, I don't know, like, some weird tradition, like, oh, well, we shave a patch of our fur off and we, like, exchange fur and tape it to each other.
Yeah, I mean, anything at this point.
It's, like, different. Just, like, something different.
We all go through our ritual shaving.
Yeah.
And then we all ritually weave that hair together into a big rug. And it goes in the middle of our treehouse. You know,
something that doesn't have a basis in what humans do.
Ritual shaving and hair weaving.
And like you'd be like, oh, that's weird. Why would you put that? Because they're aliens and they're different. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah, that story felt real. It wasn't heartwarming. Again, the message is, hey, if anyone ever warned you not to do something, just remember they're tricking you, and you should definitely do whatever irresponsible shit you planned. And like, I just don't know why that is a message you want. In a holiday book?
I think it was just supposed to be like a funny story. Like, and then the village elder and his fuck buddy were like tricking them all along. It kind of did feel to me like those two were like...
Oh, the elders? Yeah, they were probably banging it out there. It's actually how they came up with the crew lock sound. They were like someone heard that.
Oh, that's the crew lock.
Yeah, and they just ran with it. I totally believe that. Yeah, so, and you know, I'm not saying that every story has to be heartwarming, but if you're like, this is a story, or sorry, this is a collection of cozy holiday stories, usually that means it's about, yeah, heartwarming shit, like realizing that you're an asshole cop and maybe you misread this kid and now you're like, oh, I actually want to help him instead of arresting him. Cool. Like, I don't know, I've found a way to find a kinship with this family member that I thought I always disliked or something, and we shared a meal together and found common ground, and now I really appreciate them. Or, I don't know, someone got me a gift I didn't like, but then I found out why they got it for me, and it made me, you know, I understood they really cared about me. Like, there's all these different messages, you know, or maybe, you know what would have been nice? If we had two people from different space holiday traditions clashing and, you know, sharing in their traditions together and kind of getting over their weird version of each other.
They combine the holidays, so, like, you know, the
fucking Space Kwanzaa, that's what
so, like, the Ewoks, he shaves his first, or the human shaves his head and, like, trades it with the Ewok. And,
right.
And the Ewoks, like, gifts during the winter, why would you do that? Resources are scarce. But, like, so, but then they exchange things, and, you know.
Yeah, that's great. And you just came up with, like, anything like that would have been better than...
We can come up with all these stories about space knights and call them spammels, like have all these millions of different alien races, but you can't come up with, like, anything non-human centric that has some sort of relation to what people do.
It's not even human, it's also just, like, what kind of white Western Christian ideals, you know? I know that's very vague, but... You know, the hegemony. Like, It's all about that. And it's like, dude, the fucking world is so much bigger than that. Now, you're telling me the galaxy is also like this? I want to die.
Yeah.
If that's the case, take me out of the game. Like, I'm done. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to, fucking...
Winter's Heart, I believe.
Crumb nuts over here.
Crumb nuts?
What the fuck is happening?
Winter's Heart, where it's a story about...
the song of Winter's Heart.
If your childhood friend happens to be part of the fascist oppressor force and you meet them on the battlefield during the wintertime...
Just hug it out!
Just hug it out and play a couple snow games together.
Then go your separate ways.
Like... Our homeworld blew the fuck up, bro. Like,
yeah, like, it's not even like this, you know, we're not talking... political difference, like, the Empire blew up Alderaan. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen a Star War, the planet of Alderaan, upon which the story is focused, was blown up by the Empire, and this guy, like, to be clear, the planet was full of people.
Yes.
Billions of people. And, you know, this dude who's from Alderaan, who joined the Imperial forces, was like, cool with that happening.
He didn't really seem to be that beat up about it. Like, he was like, I'm just working for the Empire, man. I just need to do anything.
Yeah.
And Rel, like, he just... Basically, Rel tries to bring... Rel, he's the one that is the rebel trooper. He tries to bring it up, and Max is like, I don't want to talk about it. And then they don't, and no progress is made, and they just play snow games together, and they laugh and giggle and wrestle or whatever the fuck they were doing.
Well, to me... This story also, I thought they were, like, love interests. Like, I thought they were, like, into each other because okay, let me read from the text so I don't, you know, so you don't think I'm talking out of my asshole here. It says, let's see, so there's a scene from when they're kids, and when they're little boys together, they are playing in the snow, and, they sing, I have no idea what the melody is for this, so excuse me while I just make something up. When bells they chime in winter's gloom, gather all gather and hear their tune. For winter's heart calls out for thee, to rest make merry and feast with glee, to banish ills and gloom and fear, and keep your loved one close and near. Also, we're still writing in rhyming couplets in millions of years in fucking space.
We haven't figured out a different art form or way to manipulate prose.
These are rhyming couplets. Yeah, they are. Yeah, sorry, I actually didn't even sing that because I'm
imagining you correcting yourself because someone has to pipe in up on the YouTube comments like, actually, it's a rhyming triplet.
Gloom, Tune, the Glee. Yeah, those are rhyming couplets, sorry. I just wanted to make sure, but, yeah, so, for winter's heart would have us see, the true heart of winter is you and me. The boys finish triumphantly, pointing at one another and laughing, and then they, like, have a big hug. And then when they're 18 and they meet on the fucking sky rail or whatever, you know, Rel hears Max singing it, or hears someone singing it, and then, like, they end up seeing each other, and they just have this, like, this hug sequence that feels like they love each other in a way that's more than presented, which is fine, but then they don't do anything with that. Before he could say anything, Max grabbed him up in a final hug. Remember, the true heart of winter. You and me, finished Rel weakly, wishing he had time to say more. Always will be, said Max, joining the bustling crowd. No matter what. Be seeing you, Rel. Happy winter part. Then I just feel like that felt a little more intimate than, like, two kids who used to have, like, snowball fights together, I guess. And it also feels that way again when they meet on the battlefield later. So, there's, like, clearly this very deep connection, whether it's romantic or not, but, yeah, they just never actually talk about this, and I don't know, maybe you can't. Actually, Chris, you know, I know we were really upset about the stormtrooper guy, but can you like leave after you become a stormtrooper? Can you be like, put in my 2 weeks? Maybe you can't.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe you can't.
I don't know that part about like, you know, let's assume that you can't or something.
It doesn't seem like that because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna join up and join the army. It seems very casual about it.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a good job. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But I never got the impression in the Star Wars movies that you could just be like, I'm gonna quit.
Well, we don't really ever dive too deep into the stormtroopers' lives in the movies. So they're just fodder that can't aim right. Like, that's about as far as it goes.
Well, no, in the newer films, there's a stormtrooper that changes sides. I forget his name.
But you don't get much of the how'd he become a stormtrooper, like, is it okay?
I don't remember. I'm not that enmeshed in the Star Wars.
Point being, like, I don't know, man. It for something that could have dug a little deeper into this kind of thing happening, and maybe finding some common ground.
Literally, but, like, all it could have been was, yeah, I was, like, Max could have been like, yeah, I was fucking devastated when Alderaan was exploded, but I can't quit my job. Like, I'm not allowed to. I was told I'd be killed if I left. Or I can't because I have 3 children now and a wife, and if I leave, no one will hire me because I was a stormtrooper. Like, if they had given any explanation at all to show the nuance and complexity of how these things can actually happen to people, it would have been fine. But instead they were like, no, we're not going to talk about it. Let's play Parcheesi in the snow. And it's like, fuck off. Like, Jesus, you only had to write a couple more lines, maybe like 2 more paragraphs, and the story would have actually grappled with a difficult topic.
Also, Rel, who joined the Rebel army, kind of lets Max off the hook about it, like, really quickly. Just like, you know, okay, I guess you just work for the oppressor. Happy holidays. See you later.
It's really weird. Oh, yeah. That story at the beginning felt like I was trapped inside a Hallmark movie that, like, where, like, I had no agency and couldn't even kill anyone to ease my suffering. So, yeah, it was not great.
All right. Now, we can talk about being ghost lit.
Yes. Yeah, the Spirit of Life Day, also known as ghost lighting, the story. Like, all right, I guess we kind of already touched upon this when we were giving the summaries earlier, but if your town, all right, so for one, you live in a town It's only gets super haunted on one day. Just leave for the day.
Yeah,
go on a day trip. Go on a weekend trip. Leave. It's not hard.
You can just hit the bricks, as that one meme has told me many times.
And, you know, if you're like, oh, I'm sure, you know, maybe they don't have the money, they could use their feet to walk beyond the town line and go next door. They could get on a spammel and go to the next town. They could.
It's one day, even if you're poor, saving up all year just to not have to deal with this bullshit.
Not have to literally sit through a massacre, a ghost massacre. Like, that seems real unpleasant.
It's very localized, too. It's not a planet-wide kind of thing.
Just this one town. Here's a question.
Imagine if just, like, Medford was haunted one night every year, right? Do you think everyone there would just chill inside for
No, I don't. I think they would all come to Somerville or Everett or Cambridge.
Honestly, you could also probably get some tourism out of it, right? Like, why don't you just come to our super haunted town? Check this shit out. $500.
Oh my god, dude. Everyone leaves town and they finance it by renting their shit out that night.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Problem solved.
All you space ghost hunters, Airbnb the whole ass town. Just come on in.
The ultimate ghost hunting experience. You don't even have to hunt that hard. They're just out there screaming.
And, honestly, they could make a whole weekend out of it because, people got to come in the day before, get all their food and drink settled because the whole town's going to be gone. So, like, pretty decent money here. Come on. Enterprise.
Okay, but on top of that's not even the most egregious thing, even though it's a very obvious solution to it.
Right. So here's my other question too. Alright, so like observation 1, if the haunting is so localized that you can leave the area and do it. Observation 2, so this massacre happened during the Clone Wars, and I presume, although I have not watched the TV show, the Clone Wars must have happened on many planets.
Yes.
Okay.
Galactic level.
So, question. Do these ghost massacres happen constantly in different towns all across the galaxy?
No, it says in the beginning of the story, it's like there's one place in the entire galaxy where Life Day isn't celebrated because it's a shitty haunting day.
But that's on Life Day. But the clones didn't massacre people only on Life Day.
Over here they did.
No.
The massacre happened on the Life Day.
But okay, Chris, I don't know how I'm not articulating this correctly, but all right, when you're like massacring people in a war, you don't just do it once on one prescribed day a year. So I'm saying during the Clone Wars, there were probably many massacres on many different days. So are there just towns all over the place that just have the same problem?
This one just had the most ghost juice in the air, or like. I suppose is the only explanation. I don't know. They were at the PowerPoint. I don't know what's that, the ley line or something of the galaxy. Because yes, then this would have been happening everywhere, and the whole Star Wars universe would be hella haunted. No, it's an extremely localized, only here haunting.
All right. So it seems like my only explanation for this is that because it happened on a holiday, it was extra traumatic, and therefore there was like more ghost juice to like pump up the haunting.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right. So that's what we're going with. All right. Now, okay, third observation. How are androids ghosts?
It does say that there are droid ghosts, right? Like they're coming and they're shooting.
But then there's a ghost that says, oh, the droids aren't even ghosts. But then it's like, well, then why are they appearing as ghostly after? All right. How can androids be ghosts? This might help answer a question. Androids must be sentient because they are ghosts.
I suppose that's all the proof you need, right?
Yes. But then, so I was like, okay. I was like, all right, I've worked this out in my mind. This answers both questions. Like, But then, when our young protagonist, I believe the only woman or non-man to be our protagonist in a story, she... Alright, sorry, I forgot the setup, but I think we talked about it earlier, but her pet escapes space dog. It's called a wolf something.
Spog.
Yeah, space dog escapes, and she's like, oh no, I can't leave my space dog in the ghost massacre. It's like, why not? What are the ghosts gonna kill the space dog? Like, nothing By the way, there's no understanding of why people are afraid of the ghost massacre because the ghosts have never killed anyone or anything or destroyed anything. I mean, it's disturbing to watch, surely, but nothing's gonna happen to you. Like, so anyway, the parents are like, nope, that dog's lost forever. We'll get you a new one. And she's like, no, you don't understand. I want that space dog. And they're like, no, honey, you can't. But of course, she sneaks out. She finds the dog where she thinks he is. And then, they encounter a ghost in this building that she's hiding in. And the ghost, I'm gonna flip to this section.
It just, like, grabs her.
Emmy is her name. Let me just read the passage where this all happens, because it, really throws me. So she is hiding, and then a wispy form floods under the door and takes form. And it takes the form of a stoop-backed Bith, which I read as a stoop-backed bitch, of course, because it's one letter off from bitch. Why would you do that? A stoop-backed Bith that moans at her, and it seemed to be looking for her in this workshop she's hiding in. She's really scared with her little space dog. She's like, oh no, I'm gonna die. And then she feels like she thinks she's gonna get trapped in this, like, to relive this massacre as a ghost. And then she thinks her family's gonna get attacked. The girl's having, like, a panic attack about being a ghost. So the ghost rushes at her from across the room and kind of sweeps over her. And then she realizes nothing has happened and she opens her eyes. And, she realized that she kind of wakes up and walks out and realizes that she's kind of, like, in the, not simulation, but in, like, the reenactment, and it's very real. It's no longer ghostly. It's like she's actually in it. And then that same ghost who kind of set this in motion, she encounters again in the street, and he holds up a hand, kind of urging her to stop, but then she's scared and she runs away from him, and then he appears again, and she's like, oh fuck, he's there again, I guess I better stop. So then they talk, and she says, leave me alone! And he says, why are you so scared? I don't know, dude, you just put me in the middle of a very realistic reenactment of a massacre. That might be why I'm scared.
I guess you're stupid when you're a ghost as well, because you don't have a brain anymore.
Yeah. And, it says, Emmy stared at him with a mix of horror and disbelief. Isn't it obvious, she shouted? And her voice sounded as though it was coming from 1,000 miles away. The Biff shook his head. No, not you. The town. Why is everyone so scared? Emmy swallowed. Because every life day, you come for us to drag us from our homes and make us all like you, he said. Because of the horrible thing that happened to you here on this day. She gestured at the battle going on all around them. That's why we're scared. Confusion creased the Bith's bulbous forehead. We're not here to scare you. What? Until the droids came, this was our happiest day of the year. The scene shifted once more. The massacre was gone, replaced with dancing and laughter, a band playing in the square, and voices raised in song. Every year, we would celebrate and share joy with our families and friends, the Bith explained, as one vision of Life Day followed another, each more joyous than the last. Kaleidoscope. Jubilation had happened. But now, all you do is hide yourselves away, locking your doors to your neighbors. That is why we visit you, to remind you to live. What about the droids? Asked Emmy, barely able to stay on her feet as the town spun around her. Why do their ghosts come too? They don't, said the Bith. The droids were never alive, so they can't really have ghosts, can they? He made a noise that might have been a chuckle. Only one thing haunts the people of Ode's town, your grief. You dwell on what was rather than what will be, conjuring the battle because of your sadness and fear. You're saying all of this is because of us? Because of the way we see you? Said Emmy. But the Bith's reply was lost amongst the swirling visions of celebrations past, the images blurring, mixing with the sounds of explosions and blaster fire. Wait! Emmy cried, reaching out a hand to steady herself, but all at once the shadows of the past were gone, as was the Bith. Emmy found herself still in the shell of the old pill droid, clutching Hekta to her chest. Outside in the streets, the sound of the ghostly battle raged on, but now she knew what she had to do. So, then she just runs to everyone, she's like, everyone open your doors, it's Life Day, everything's fine. So, alright, so this fucking ghost litter, right? Like, he was like, there are no ghost droids, it's your problem.
These aren't the ghost droids you're looking for.
Yeah.
Also, like, well, if you weren't so sad all the time, maybe we wouldn't be so mean.
Yeah, I just don't I mean, and to be clear, like, the depictions given of the ghosts and the replay of the massacre are terrifying. Like, these ghosts are clawing at doors and screaming and being murdered. Like, look, dude, I don't really buy this. I think this ghost is full of shit. I think that he's fucking with her because that's what you do as a ghost for entertainment. You know, it's 1 year you come back, you gotta do something for fun instead of just relive your own murder. I mean, to be like, no, it's your fault that we look evil. Like, get out of here. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I don't understand how this even ghost mechanic works here, where it's your cognition of the events that happened years ago affects how the ghosts act?
And affects what appear as ghosts? I think he's basically saying that he's saying there are no ghosts. It's like a collective poltergeist, but then he is a ghost? So also, the droids aren't alive, so they can't be ghosts, but then, like, aren't the droids sentient?
I think it's like the ghosts are just of the non-droids being killed, and you can hear the blaster fire. Even wait, does the blaster fire go? Is it just the audio? Is it audio ghosts?
No, there is a section right before the part I read where she watches blaster fire take out the side of a house. So there was a ghost laser. A ghost laser. This, I don't know who wrote this story, but like, Sir Mammerdam, like, you did not do a good job. This makes no sense. If you needed to write a ghost story, I mean, you live in this universe. Like, this universe has the Force, which is a magical
there are
spirit
Force
field.
Ghosts. There are Force ghosts specifically.
So there could have been regular ghosts, and it just didn't. None of this fit together very well. Is my point. Oh man. All right, and then we got two more stories. All right.
I mean, I don't think we even need to talk about the next one. That, like, this is old TBC ground.
Yeah. All right.
We're coming back to our pilgrimage and reflecting on how it's a dumb story if the point of the story is then I found a partner.
Well, I think it's okay if that's the story, if it has depth and nuance.
Yeah,
like,
and you, like,
if you're like,
you're with them for a long time,
right,
and you see how, like, they interact with each other and how they gave each other's lives meaning.
Right, and you understand how that relationship really improved both of their lives or meant something to them. Honestly, I would even take a story where their lives maybe weren't, and, you know, maybe it was not a positive outcome, but if it had, again, the depth and nuance of actual human relationships and connection.
If it had an actual effect on anyone's life in the story.
Yeah, it'd be great. But instead, like, I think the main issue with a lot of these stories is that they're so short that it does. I mean, that's why the only one that really works is the Santa droid thing, because it's just a simple concept.
Yeah.
It's like,
but even then, you could have been with these two running into each other a bunch, or like, they get together on this one reflection day thing, and then later on they keep doing the reflection day, and it's like, periodically they come back every 5 cycles, and they're reflecting on how far they've come, and you see the relationship build. One time there's a hard part, and they were on on a rocky area in their relationship. So, like, something developing, but the whole story is, and then he ran into this lady like 3 times, and that's weird. So then when he saw her in the mirror, he's like, well, I guess I gotta marry her. Like, what? Yeah, he doesn't say that, but that's the point. Like, that's what they're getting to, essentially.
Yeah, because you're supposed to look in the mirror and see your purpose in life. So,
I don't know, if this guy was such a loser and he didn't have anything to do because his dad sent him on the pilgrimage to figure something out, and he just sees a lady, he's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just make her the point of my life. You're not really a healthy step there, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and also, if the idea is like, well, the purpose of my life is this woman, and now I believe in the Force because I met this woman. I don't know.
Force boner. So, like, there was a Jedi off screen just, like, massaging his nuts a little bit with the Force.
So, alright, I will say, we are dealing with a universe where the
Force prostitutes in Star Wars?
Oh. I don't understand what you mean. like people who can force fuck you?
Yes, like, you know, like, remember in Power Mage I was like, why wasn't there like a telekinetic hand job or something?
Yeah.
This is a sidebar. This has nothing to do with anything.
Sorry, sex sidebar.
We don't need to talk about that. But you
No, but I think
no, now you do.
No, I mean, Chris, you know me. You can't bring something up without me talking about it. So, I mean, no, I don't think so, because anybody who can control the Force is a Jedi, right?
Not all the time. Princess Leia is understood to be a little bit Force capable, but she was never she just
never trained.
She does it unconscioly, that kind of thing. So there must be someone out there that like figured out that they can rub a nutsack from afar or like pinch a nipple.
I mean, but you know, the Force. I mean, you would hopefully be a better lover if you had the connection to the Force, because you can read and interpret, you can interpret and sense people's emotions better.
Yeah, there you go. That's just that, not even like telekinesis.
So Jedi sex, best sex.
All right, this has nothing to do with that.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Anyway, yeah, Reflection Day. Before we went into sex sidebar, I was going to say there's a part in this section in this story where Zalu or Zula, whatever the fuck is, what is his name? Starts with Z. Zalo, says, I don't believe in that Force nonsense. And I'm like, dude, you live in a world where like magic is demonstrated to you via the Jedi and the Darth Lord, Sith Lord.
Fuck.
Lord. Are all the no, that's not right. No. Because evil Jedi aren't always Siths, because Siths are a species.
No.
Right?
No. Evil Jedi are Sith, and they could be of any species.
Oh, I had that turned around in my mind. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you for clearing that up for me. So yeah, I don't really know how you can be like, I don't believe in this magic stuff when there's like magic happening all around you all the time. It's just kind of bizarre. Because
he's never seen it with his own eyes, he doesn't believe it, maybe.
I guess, but I've always gotten the impression with Star Wars that, I mean, Jedi,
they're super high level in like the functioning galactic government and shit. I mean, they were like routed and like destroyed because of the Execute Order 66 and like and all that. But like even then,
yeah, like I know there was a Jedi cleansing, but like the Sith also still exists, and like Darth Vader, who was the head of the Imperial forces, had crazy like Force magic, right? So
yeah, I don't think Darth Vader's a secret,
or Palpatine, or any of that stuff.
I think Palpatine wasn't telling everyone that he had Force powers. He was just the Emperor. He was elected Emperor. But I mean, like, Darth Vader definitely is not a secret.
Yeah, it just doesn't. But maybe you're right. I mean, we are talking, you know, many planets, systems, like a whole galaxy here. So maybe you're right. Maybe this stuff is so rare that there are a lot of people who only ever hear about it, read about it. I don't know. But
he's still
felt
this is the son of clearly a wealthy enough individual to send him on a pilgrimage across the galaxy.
Right.
He probably has heard it's not super backwater or anything. Like, it's not reaching him.
Right. Yeah. So, a little strange.
Okay.
Right. Last story, the Tree of Life. Oh boy, what's this gonna be? It's just a Wookiee Christmas.
Yeah.
It's really
He breaks
bad.
the ornament, and the family's like, it's fine. The memories are important. Then Han Solo goes, "You done good, kid." At the end,
here, have a light bulb from the Millennium Falcon. That's literally what happens.
I don't think, but like, I've never in the Millennium Falcon. The lights aren't bulbs, right? They're just like usually long strip like kind of things, like you would see.
Chris, go to the internet. We gotta talk about this.
It's not like a fucking
I was
like
also wondering that. I was like, are there light bulbs?
Yeah, like not your classic like I had an idea over the head like light bulb thing. Is like you don't see that in the Millennium Falcon.
Bring up some interiors of the Millennium Falcon. We need to investigate this because I also felt it was odd.
Okay, all right.
And so yeah, so all the story is Chewbacca's family is like, oh no, Dad's away on a mission, and the mom is like, we're still gonna have a good day, but the kid kind of doesn't care and just on his like space iPad the whole time. And the mom's like, oh, but I gotta get the special ornaments. So she gets the special, like, glass ornaments with, like, a light inside of them. And, you know, they're going to the celebration to put them on the life tree, the fucking Christmas tree. And then Chewbacca and Han Solo show up, and everyone's like, oh, Chewbacca's back for Christmas. I mean, Life Day. Yay. And Han Solo's here, too. And And, you know, the kid breaks the ornament and he's really mad, and then...
It's like floor rim long style bulb lighting.
Yeah, we're looking at interiors of the Millennium Falcon, and we are not seeing glass orb light bulbs that you could unscrew. So this is like a practical error in the text, I believe, which kind of ruins the whole story.
Wow, this is like a true level Star Wars nerdery where, like, actually they wouldn't have circular bulbs on the Millennium Falcon.
Alright. Well, wait a second, you're on eBay. Let me...
Yeah, it's eBay and Millennium Falcon. That was just like the image that comes up, but like all of the other images, they have like I said, like Target-ass long lights. You know what I'm talking about.
Alright, people, if you can find a globe-shaped light bulb on the Millennium Falcon, we want to hear from you, because we think that
there's
this is
one
a
like next to that couch that they have on the Millennium Falcon, you know, like the couch where like Chewbacca plays the hologram fighting game or whatever. There's one thing that's like around the rim of the upper part of the couch, but that's just like
that's a cylinder. That's not a globe.
Yeah, but it's like it's a custom-made piece for the Millennium Falcon, so that makes it even sillier.
Yeah,
There's no circular.
Come on, Star Wars nerds, we need you. We need you.
Like Han Solo had a bunch of fucking LED bulbs from Home Depot in the drawer.
Well, no, because it was more like I got the sense that it was a round globe, you know, not like a traditional light bulb like we would think of it, but yeah, you're right. I don't see anything like that on these interiors. This is a true fucking mystery.
Yeah.
Space mystery.
I don't know, maybe in like Han Solo's personal quarters he has a regular ass light bulb or something.
But they weren't in his personal quarters. It was pretty clear that they just like walked onto the Millennium Falcon and like a light bulb from the ceiling and like in the hallway. So the only things I'm seeing there are these like gray caps with lights around them, but they're like ribbed and they're not glass globes at all. So I don't know, man. I think this is a technical foul that broke this story.
Technical foul, lore misplacement, no bulbs on the Millennium Falcon. No bulbs.
You know what, Chris? All we have to do is go to this life-size replica of the Millennium Falcon.
Like the inside of it?
Someone made it in Denver. In Littleton.
Okay.
Alright. Starting Friday, May 25th at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton, a fan-built replica... Sorry, this article's from 2018. A fan-built replica of the famed Millennium Falcon's cockpit. Oh, just the cockpit.
Yeah, so fuck up, like...
The replica, constructed inside a 40-foot-long shipping container, is designed to appear as it does in the new movie Solo, a Star Wars story. Okay, well that... I did not see that, and I don't feel like... I don't know. Fuck it. Anyway, I think this bulb doesn't exist, and I think the story breaks the story because of it. It's also a stupid story, where it's like the worst part is that it doesn't even... I mean, they get to the point where the kid sees the mom, like, crying over the broken ornament, and he's like, oh, I really fucked up, basically, and the mom's like, no, I'm crying because I was worried about you, because I didn't know where you were. He's like, well, I brought your replacement anyway, and, like, everything's cool, but it doesn't even really... it doesn't really, like, reinforce that idea that... Also, it's not a novel idea that your child is more important than an object, like a decorative object. It's not very impactful for me, that's all I'm saying. Like, it's really not.
But Han Solo was there.
He sure was. And Chewbacca. Oh.
And added shit Chuck.
Oh, his
and Itchy Cuck was there.
Oh, did you know Chewbacca's dad's nickname is Itchy? That's what I found out.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there was an Itchy and a I think there was an Itchy and a Scratchy. Please hold.
I don't think there was a Scratchy. I would have remembered if there was a Scratchy.
Oh, I'm sorry. There was an Itchy and... Oh, I forgot this part. Is great. So there's a Lumpawarump, the little Wookiee. I don't know who that is. Oh, is that the kid? No, isn't the kid named like Woo Woo or something?
Yeah, Lumpy is like the uncle or something.
No, it says his grandson, Lumpy. Anyway, this sentence really got me. It's like the fourth sentence. How many times had Itchy leaned back in his chair, chuckling at his grandson's antics, Lumpy cramming a furry fist into his mouth to stop himself from shrieking in glee as the great day dawned. You know, because that's how I react to Christmas Day. I shove my fist in my mouth and scream.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess this is a fish shrieking time. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, can we fix it? Can we fix it, Chris?
I mean, just give me something more creative, right? Just like something that isn't based on human holiday traditions. Like, I don't know, the telekinetic gas bag creatures get together once every...
They share their gas bags.
They mix their gas into the valley of gas sharing.
Yeah.
And that's how, they celebrate their community because, they're the only species biologically capable of mixing their innards together and bringing them back into themselves when they've learned something and gained a little piece of each other. And that's some weird alien shit, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I'm looking for here.
Yeah, just give me something weird and unique. And
if you're trying to sell me on a whole ass galaxy, how many years from now?
It was actually a long time ago, Paris.
What?
The beginning of every Star Wars movie, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Wait, this is what?
Star Wars is in the past, Paris. A long time ago.
How?
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
How could it be in the past?
Because they developed faster than actual Earth. Earth is separate entirely and developed way later.
Oh, right. That was a stupid question. So, wait, so what galaxy are they supposed to be in?
A galaxy.
Oh, okay, right. Far, far away. Okay, sorry. That was really... my brain stopped working for a second. I'm sorry.
Oh, it also stopped working every time a Star Wars movie started.
Look, I just wasn't, when I was a kid, the original Star Wars trilogy was like reissued into theaters for some reason.
I remember that.
And my dad was really excited.
Yes.
My dad really liked them.
So was mine.
And so my dad was like, "Oh, we gotta go see these." So I went to see them with my dad, and I was like, "This is fine." I wasn't that hyped about it. Like, I didn't think it was that great because it just felt like every other story to me. I really loved all the practical effects and stuff in the first three movies.
Oh, that's sci-fi classics, right? Like, there's few things quite like it.
Visually, yeah, sure, say that. But yeah, I just wasn't that into it. And then, like, little did I know, as I got older, it was like revival, and then they made, I don't know, another 12 movies or whatever, however many things they've made. I'm really surprised at how popular it's become. I don't know. So anyway, all I'm saying is I've never been particularly jazzed by the Star Wars universe. Like, it's fine. I liked Rogue One. Didn't really like the other ones.
There's entertaining things about it. It's fine, but like
it's too cliche and cheesy for me overall.
How would you have fixed this though?
How would I have fixed this? All right. So this really feels like, Disney and Lucasfilm were like, all right, we gotta make money this year. We don't have a Star Wars film coming out. How are we gonna make money? And somebody like dug in the trash and they were like, hey, I found these old scripts, and they were like, these suck. Oh wait, but what if, and then you have like the montage of them putting together all these stories. It really just feels like someone stapled Judeo-Christian traditions on top of Star Wars, and it's really, really hastily done.
That'll hold those SOBs.
And really poorly grafted onto the Star Wars universe. Like, I mean, it really just, you can taste that it was just to make money in time for the upcoming winter holiday season, and that is. That is supported,
that nice capitalism flavor.
That is supported by the publication date of September 2021.
Yeah.
It lacks any, of that world building that I would kind of expect from a franchise as kind of well trodden as this.
It makes like a facile attempt at world building
by just throwing words in soup. It
didn't build the whole world. It's kind of like the loose crust, just the hollow earth theory of world building.
I don't know, and like we've complained about earlier, I just thought it was kind of weird. These stories almost all seem just like Christmas analogs. There's one that's maybe vaguely Hanukkah or Diwali, not really sure. And then, I mean, I don't know, like, you have all these different cultures, like we were saying earlier, you know, why would they be all be so similar when you have literal alien species? Like, they're not even human. There's so much diversity in human culture. There would be much greater diversity, you know, when we're talking about different species here, and alien species that aren't even terrestrial. So, you're talking, like, 2 different degrees removed, actually more than that, because these are species that aren't even in our solar system, or even our galaxy. So there's so many levels of abstraction here that would produce truly bizarre things. Why is everything Christmas?
My species, every once in a while, we all go and swallow each other, and that's the holiday tradition for us, because I can digest my mom. That's horrible. No, it's totally part of the culture. Like, you know,
right. Actually, I really liked your the great shaving and weaving.
Yeah.
I thought that was fine.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. The great licking, I don't know. You know, whatever.
It's Space Dog Christmas. It's Spog Christmas, and we all sniff each other's butts. But even that's still, like, Earth-centric, so I don't know. They, like...
Well, and maybe, like you said, I mean, you know, most of these holidays are about, like, community and stuff, and they actually mentioned at the very beginning, like, the Huts have a day where one day they don't, like, shed any blood, and I was like, alright, well, that's at least a little more interesting because it's a very individualistic, warlike society that still has a community ritual. I would have much rather had a story about that.
Yeah, like, why does that individualistic society have this one community ritual?
Right. And then my other complaint is that there's never any cross-cultural sharing.
Life Day is supposed to be sort of a pan-cultural, everyone celebrate.
It's from the Wookiees.
Yes. Like, I don't know, Wookiee Christmas took off really hard on TikTok one year, and now everyone does.
Yeah.
It's like the Wookiee version of TikTok, so it's...
Well, that's the other strange thing, is that, you know, the Wookiee language is just unintelligible to humans. I mean, I imagine, actually...
I mean, Han Solo's been able to understand it the entire series, so, like, let's not dig into this. I'm sure there's many forum posts that we could find that
that's true.
Gone over this.
Yeah, and honestly, even if you're like, well, it's for kids, I really wouldn't even recommend this, because there's already better existing stories that these things have pulled from that you could read to your kids. And I guess I'm sure there are some kids out there who are like, I will only eat Star Wars shaped mac and cheese. I will only sleep in a Millennium Falcon shaped bed. I will only listen to holiday stories with Star Wars characters. But, like,
I think you need to get that child a therapy session and not a Star Wars themed holiday.
Well, no, I think it's normal for kids to have phases like that, but I just don't think it really serves much of a purpose, because these stories aren't really teaching them anything.
Yeah.
I really just think Droid Santa was probably the only one that I'd be like, keep that story, that's fine. Expand on that.
Publish it on a blog.
Yeah, great.
Alright.
That's it.
See you later. No.
Oilbringer. Well, patrons,
yeah, thank you for being with us this entire year. This is the end of year episode.
This is the end of season 6?
Yes.
End of season 6, yeah.
Yes.
End of season 6 of the Terrible Book Club. I hope you are all having a wonderful winter holiday season here on Earth. I guess I don't know, maybe you're not on Earth. Maybe you're listening to this hundreds of thousands of years from now. Yeah, hope you're all having a nice time out there. You know, hope you're just having a nice time, even if you're not into the winter holidays. Maybe your holidays are in the spring or the summer, or never. Maybe you don't like holidays. Maybe you just like sitting in your room. You know what? Hope you're having a great fucking time sitting in your room.
I agree. Thank you for being with us this year and assisting us in reading these terrible books by sending us horrible crap to read.
And sometimes sending us good crap to read, too.
Yes.
Some of you have sent us books this year. It's been really nice.
Kind messages this year.
Oh, yeah. A lot of kind messages. Really generous donations. Yeah, y'all are really the lifeblood of the life ink of this terrible book club. Yeah. So I don't know if it really, sorry, I didn't really think about if I had anything special to say. I guess this is nice for us because we're doing an episode in person.
Yeah, face to face. Like I said, the candle is still burning from the beginning of the episode.
Still burning.
The tea has been drunk. We are still cozy.
What would a Terrible tradition be?
Here we go. There we go.
You would rip books up and burn them to purge the terrible books from the year. Like, you would all bring the worst book you read that year, talk about why it was bad, rip it up and burn it, and then someone would gift you a new good book. that would be the Terrible tradition.
You use the ashes to like create a work of art that is better than, or like an elaboration,
like like a sand mandala.
Yes,
it's a fucking terrible book ash mandala.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
That's weird, Paris. Everyone has a song right now with the working title of Sand Mandala. All of these spooks.
Woo!
I don't know.
But yeah, I think that it actually, well, I think there actually are countries that do kind of book giving as a part of their winter holiday tradition. So
I think Terriblo's holiday tradition would be crawling into the void of words. So it's the space between, like the blank spaces between words in a book. He crawls into there in some book that he has managed to decide was the worst this year. And he stares out from that empty space, looking at you, reading the book. And just for one time a year, he decides to make things a little bit easier. And he magically erases 30 pages from the book that you're reading.
Dude, I think he's done that to me many times because there are so many times where we'll be talking about something we've read and you'll mention something and I'm like, I couldn't even tell you what book that was from. I don't know what you're talking about. Chris was like, Paris, you said this on this episode, and I was like, I don't remember. Like, my memory is
Terriblo's holiday touch.
It's Terriblo's magic. Actually, your idea that Terriblo is hiding in the spaces between words that's actually terrifying to me. I'm like a little freaked out by that.
Sorry to ruin your holiday tradition, but I mean, Terriblo also isn't hiding in between words. He's emblazoned upon my arm all year round.
That's true.
So...
You went through a major ritual for Terriblo this year.
I did this year.
You did. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I like winter holiday time just because it means food and gifts and being with people you care about. I guess not that you can't do that at any other time of year, but this is the prescribed time. I really like winter. Work
gives you flexibility in terms of being off around here, so that's really the major thing.
That really is. I'm very fortunate to have a job where, at least at the time of this recording, to have a job where I get some time off at the end of the year. It's pretty nice. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I'll be. I'm planning on going to, of course, see my partner in Minneapolis, and then we are going to Seattle together to see his extended family. So, well, assuming things are still safe at that time, and it's or as safe as they can be, and everything goes well, traveling and whatnot. But
all right, well, Paris, I think it's time to thank the people that supported us this year, the patrons.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what you were doing this holiday season because I just said I was doing. And then you just were like, fuck you, Paris, let's go to the patron roll and end this fucking episode, even though I'm the one that has to travel an hour and a half back home right now.
I mean, I'm not hanging out, being with friends. Like, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. Right here. This right here.
Yeah. It's we're approaching the holidays right now. Not quite there yet.
I've got a lot of that lined up.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm, to be honest, pretty excited that we're doing a bunch of pre-recording to take a nice break. So we don't have to read terrible books for a few months. It'll be nice. We can do other things. Read good books. All right. Well, we can thank those patrons. Thank you, patrons. We hope you have a lovely winter holiday season, a lovely winter, a lovely existence. Thank you to Dari, Greg, Veronica, Will, Dee, Jared, Lynn, Dinya, Yakub, Bobby Blackcat, Lycoris, Elliot, Kieran, Martin, Jay, Scott, Luchek, CTAP1, Miri, Yanka, David, Julius, Anya, Anonymous, Trisha, Austin, Donnie, Crimson Paladin, our newest patron, Callum. Thank you so much, Callum. Welcome to the Terrible Book Club team. You can get your tattoo next time. And our Ko-fi donor, Laxtodes. Thank you all very much for supporting us this year and for continuing to listen. And yeah, just it's fun. It's nice to have you all. If you also want to help support the show, you can find our Patreon, our Ko-fi, coffee, whatever. You can find us on YouTube. Tell people about us. Give us a review. Like us on a platform. Just keep existing. Send us an email if you want at terriblebookclub@gmail.com. Put some goodwill out into the force for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope you have a lovely turning of the year, and we will see you the beginning of January. Whatever the first Tuesday in January is.
Yeah.
That one.
Around then.
Yeah.
All right. See you next year, everybody.
All right. Well, good night.
We're ready. I'm gonna put those at the end of the episode.
What?
Just the noises.
Just me laughing.
No, like your fucking Paris noises.
Oh, everyone
it's fine.
Makes fun of my noises. It's not making sense.
Florida, the Boyer Valley was going to his local holiday grocery store.
He didn't know what to get for his many nights. Oh, what will it be this year? Guys, can I have 5 minutes? I gotta fucking shop. Sorry.
Okay. Well, that's all in the beginning here. So.
That's fine. That's fine. Future Chris will take care of that.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready, Paris?
Yeah, I mean, this is me starting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we get the heat vent on this episode. That's nice. That's just there. Don't
very.
That's in every holiday TV
yeah,
that's just heat vents.